What is up, homies? Welcome back to another trailer reaction from Heroes Reforged. We're watching the brand new teaser trailer for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. What a time to be alive when a Marvel show or a second season of a Marvel show comes out, first of all. Second of all, it comes out only a year after the previous season.
What a concept. Yeah. What a concept.
Amazing. Season 1 was really great. We had a fun time watching it. We have those reactions on YouTube. We've got them on Patreon. You should join the community. Watch those, binge those before we jump into Season 2 with us. Season 2 is coming out March 24th, I think. So it's not that far away, only 2 months. And we're getting back into it. So
and also check out our reactions to Wonder Man. It's been getting good reviews. We're doing all of those. So far, we've seen 4 episodes. Love the show. Can't wait to finish it up and see what it's all about. So
it's a great show, man.
Very excited about that.
I just saw a really great YouTube video actually today. It's an older video about like what's the status of all of Marvel and all of DC and their movies and their TV shows and their comics and, you know, hitting it at every angle. And they sort of talked about like the MCU TV series that they might not have the biggest impact. They're not landing with the biggest impact, but they're like pretty solid across the board. But I think that it's fair to say there's no clear winner. I think about the Star Wars TV shows and I'm like, Andor #1 with a bullet. Andor #1 with a bullet.
Yeah,
and
easily.
I like most of the other Star Wars TV shows. I think they're great, but and the MCU doesn't have that. And some folks might say Loki, but others might say WandaVision. Those are great. Like I'm saying, it's common for everybody to kind of have like a different favorite. Some people might say X-Men 97. Some people might say Daredevil Born Again. And I'm really excited about this because this is going to be a season that is direction changed in the middle of the production, right?
Right.
That's what we want, man. We want TV to be TV. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Daredevil and combining that legacy of the Netflix series is one of the highlights of the MCU overall, like across the board, you know, in general. If they still continued with the storyline sort of started in season 1 with Frank Castle versus those Punisher worshipping cops, I'll take that as well. I thought that was great, but I'm let's get some more of that. Let's get some more of that. Maybe that'll be in the special, in the Punisher special, but
or Spider-Man Brand New Day. Who knows?
Or in Spider-Man. That'd be sick, dude.
Tons of options, you guys. Tons of options, guys. Tons of options. We'll see if it actually happens.
Yeah. You guys ready to watch the trailer?
Oh, yeah. Count us down.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Uh-oh. We're starting with sexy times? Okay.
Flashback? Flashback? Or that's got to be a flashback. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Okay.
I did my job.
AVTF? Oh, brother.
I'm sorry?
What?
Very cool.
What?
What? Oh, Matthew Lillard. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Let's go, Matthew.
I hope he can walk.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Jessica.
Yes, Billy Club.
Let's go.
Billy Club.
Look at his suit.
Oh, my God.
They're looking at a body.
Saw or shovel?
Jesus.
Wilson
Fisk.
Oh my God.
What the hell?
Oh, Foggy.
He's gonna enjoy that ass whooping. He's gonna enjoy that ass whooping for sure.
Yeah,
someone's getting a putazo.
Absolute putazos.
Man, I like that teaser. I like the vibe of that teaser, dude. Nobody gives a F. That's great.
Yeah.
It definitely has pieces of the previous season. I feel like prior to it being slightly overhauled, but it also has a little bit more of that sort of dramatic, very dramatic thriller action sort of vibes that the original Netflix series also had. So I think it looks really good. I love when the creatives have fun with the camera work and how we experience Daredevil's sort of vision and how he sees things and how he experiences things. Like I like compressing the shots and expanding the shots. It just gives it a little bit of something that we don't normally get to see. Like, you know, we watched the Daredevil movie from 2003, and that had its own like sonic visual effects look to it. But I like being able to experience it in different ways, like how they did last season with those incredibly wide 3-camera perspectives that they then like merged together. All that stuff is really fun. And it's got the action and it's got the intensity so far that I think we would all want from another season of this show. So, and he's got that really nice suit with them double D's on
black
it.
suit. Yeah, dude. He's gonna enjoy. I'm replaying.
You mean actual letter
that.
D's though, right, Adam?
Oh, yeah.
Actual letter D's. Yeah. I think that it looks like they're presenting a lot of really cool stuff. They got that Kingpin in the boxing ring.
Yeah.
Interesting. They got the weird Kingpin with the mask on. They're introducing some foggy flashbacks, it looks like.
Yeah.
Maybe some characters that might have some redemption arcs. The fucking Jessica Jones, dog. Can we talk about Jessica Jones coming back into this? It's good. I didn't realize how much I missed that character till literally the moment she popped up on screen.
Yeah.
Then it all just came flashing back. I'm like, oh, there's so much, like a time capsule unlocked in my head. It's going to be really good to kind of dive back into the things they laid down way back. What is it, 2017-ish? 2016-ish?
Yeah, it's been about 9-10 years since they started some of these characters' stories.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good to dive into that. Feels welcome.
Yeah, Jessica Jones had a season 3 along with Daredevil. They were the only 2 characters. Danny and Luke, you know, Iron Fist and Luke Cage each got 2 seasons. And I think so too did Punisher, got 2 seasons. And there was only the one miniseries of Defenders, but Jessica Jones' last 3rd season, I think, was 2018. And
okay.
It's wild, but it's like Charlie Cox looks great. Christian Ritter looks great. I'm hoping that with Jessica Jones in the mix, and I've said this before, like, I hope it means that Luke is not too far behind. I hope that I really miss Luke Cage. I miss Jessica for sure, but I really miss Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. I think there's so much untapped potential with all of these characters, but especially because, look, man, for me, I was reading Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers as it was coming out 20 years ago. I was in high school, and Luke was such a huge part of that like, that dude, that's my guy. He has my heart, dude. I love Luke Cage, and sprinkle in some of that Danny flavor as well, the Danny Rand flavor. And I know people are always dogging on that show, but I'm like, I so want that show and that concept, just the concept of the Iron Fist to come back. And I miss Colleen Wing, and I miss Misty Knight. Like, I miss Turk Barrett. You know, I miss Claire Temple. Like, I miss these characters that, like, they all just had so much potential. And as I'm rewatching this trailer, I'm also thinking, like, I want this show to go for as long as they want to make it. I don't want to like stretch this out. You know, I don't want to have any of this stuff overstay its welcome. And I would love for Charlie Cox as Daredevil to be like in the comics, like in the Marvel Comics universe, to be this mainstay who's always there. I want the character to age with Charlie. I don't necessarily want him playing this action hero for the rest of his career, but like an older Matt Murdock, I want to see him in MCU movies or TV shows 10, 15 years from now. Augustine, I think your camera froze. I think it froze if you wanted to refresh. Anyway, the point is that I'm thinking about, like, if this goes into a season 3, which I think is what the rumor is, will season 3 have like a finale to this new chapter of Daredevil? And will it leave him in a place where it's like, okay, and now he's going to be that character who maybe like a Doctor Strange, or maybe like like Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, certainly for many years, will pop up all the time there's a New York story. You know what I mean? I'd love that for Matt, but I would also, in that finale, I would love for them straight up, like how they haven't announced, maybe we'll still see it, a Daredevil movie with Charlie Cox Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
A street level Daredevil theatrically released movie. And I'd also like to see, in that same regard, like, as much as I'd love to see Luke Cage on the Avengers, I'd love to see a return to the Defenders. And maybe that's the movie, because I would love to, for all of these characters and these actors playing these characters, to kind of get that larger finale and that larger acknowledgement from the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, you guys like locked it down on Netflix 10 years ago. Thank you for your service. We brought back Charlie a couple seasons. You know, Punisher's getting a special. He's going to be in Spider-Man. Where are the rest of these Netflix era, you know, New York street level characters? What can we do? Maybe it's not necessarily that they each get seasons of a new series, although that would be great. And I want these actors to be successful and if play the characters if they want. But maybe it's like a big hurrah of like another big crossover movie. Maybe it's Defenders. Maybe it's, I don't know. But just like, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I'm so happy that the conversations we were having 10 years ago when we were like, can you imagine if Charlie Cox Daredevil ever met, Tom Holland Spider-Man and stuff like, and it's happened and it has happened. Like, then She-Hulk has met Daredevil and it's a really cool place to be in the MCU right now. And I'm just like really excited for where the characters could still go. And hopefully, again, dude, like hopefully bring back Luke Cage, Colleen Wing, Misty Knight, Danny Rand, so many of these characters I think are so great. And I would love a world where Luke is invited to join the Avengers. Love that. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, it would be. And I would love to see those Netflix characters come back in some capacity. A movie I think would be really cool. The only thing that sometimes I have a little bit of like apprehension over is the notion of people having to do a lot of work in order to like understand what's happening in the movie.
For sure.
I
see. For sure.
feel like that sometimes can be the case with some of the shows. But I will say at the same time, I think the way you avoid that is you don't stack the shows back to back to back to back to back. You do it over the course of a couple years and only do the stories that really need to be told. And then the movie can kind of do all the rest of the heavy lifting. And I think, I think that's a perfect way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think these characters do deserve to be spotlighted on film or like in the cinematic sense. And I hope that I don't think we'll see them in Doomsday, but maybe if Secret Wars calls for it would be cool to see them get leveled up for that movie. And then from there build on, let's bring back the Defenders. Let's see what the post-Secret Wars universe is. Will there still be an Avengers? Are the Avengers a little bit more international in the sense that they have to sort of represent the whole world? Are the Defenders specific to New York? Are the West Coast Avengers only specifically on the West Coast? I think you can start building up a lot of those factions throughout the Marvel universe, and all these heroes can play their certain roles. And then the Avengers are sort of the all-encompassing superhero team that maybe will pluck characters from each of these teams when they need to. And I mean, I think you can do limitless things, I feel like. But I think Daredevil's the perfect springboard to reintroduce these characters and then, do whatever you want to do with them.
Yeah. You guys feel like, and here's just a general question, do you guys feel like maybe Daredevil feels a little separate from the rest of the the rest of the Marvel shows that we've been seeing? Kind of like, I know he was directly in She-Hulk, but does it feel like the show visually is just like a little bit separated from the rest of the MCU? Like, would this Daredevil feel weird jumping into, it's not going to happen, but like into a Loki show?
Sure.
Or like a Miss Marvel, right? It feels like this level of the show that they're doing just feels kind of not in touch with the rest of, what's going on in the MCU franchise, but kind of in a good way. Like it's really kind of doing its own thing and carrying on the legacy from the Netflix shows.
That's a good point. My answer would be maybe, but I think it might be because, thank God, Daredevil was like seemingly filmed in New York, and so were the old Netflix shows. And that's such a key thing that like it makes me nervous that all these productions are moving to England. That like the Marvel Studios productions are moving to England for tax breaks, and it's like you guys are going to make Edinburgh, Scotland, stand in for New York City. Like it's weird, and it's like no, they'll come to New York and film some, and I'm like, okay, fine, but I think like when I think about WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki and Moon Knight and She-Hulk Attorney at Law, I think about those shows, and it's like none of them are New York based. Ms. Marvel was New Jersey, so kind of, but that had its own flavor. But I just think that like filming in New York really makes you feel like you're in New York. And the way that this show did it, this first season, feels like it was carrying over what they did with the Netflix series, where like it feels like you're in New York, which I think is awesome. So yeah, you might be onto something, but I think it's the New York
You can draw
thing.
the parallel there, like with Wonder Man. Well, we've been seeing it so in LA.
It's so
like
LA.
Every
It's
shot
awesome.
you can recognize everything that's in LA.
Yeah.
That I think you're right, Hector. There's a sort of a visual language that only New York has. And when you see it, you recognize it as instantly New York. And when they try to tell you that it is New York, even though you clearly know it's not, like it kind of takes you out of it. Like it's just kind of like even though it's not 100% like breaking the reality that they're trying to set, it's still, as a human being, that's clearly not New York.
Yeah,
whereas if they did shoot it there, it would be so authentic.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think they shot Hawkeye in New York, or if they shot it in Atlanta, which they probably did, enough of it looked like New York, and they went and did some, because I know they had like some SNL guys that were directors were doing Hawkeye, so like that felt like maybe out of all the MCU shows, Hawkeye during Christmas time in New York felt the closest to whatever the Daredevil universe feels like, So it'd be cool if they also crossed over. That'd be great.
I think also, you look at like DC, for example, because they're fictional cities, they're not real.
Yeah.
You can get away with going to Cleveland, or you can get away with going to like, I know the Batman shot in places all over Scotland and the UK, but also in the United States, in New York and Pittsburgh and all these other cities.
Yeah.
So I think with that, it's a little easier because you're just buying into like whatever they tell you the city is. You're like, okay, that's the look of the city in this version. Nolan used Chicago and Pittsburgh. Matt Reeves did something else. So I think it's fine. But I agree. I think and Marvel specifically, and like most of their cities, if not all, are based in real locations in the United States. It does. I was just rewatching clips from those Raimi Spider-Man movies, and it's New York. Like most of it looks and feels like New York, and it feels like there's Times Square, there's this, there's Upper Manhattan, there's East Side, whatever. I think there is a little bit of that. Not realism necessarily, but it feels like a place that you've been to or is very familiar because you've seen it in other movies. And I think overall, that's the biggest sort of criticism that I think most people have about movies made today, especially these big budgeted films, is that we're standing in so many cities for cities that already exist here. Why are we going outside, moving these productions if we can just go to Los Angeles, Miami, New York, Pittsburgh, Chicago, like use those real locations. And like if you look at a lot of movies of the 70s and 80s, all of them, for the most part, shot in these real locations, unless it was these bigger productions like Batman that went to England, and New York is New York, and it feels very New York. And there's also just like the culture of New York. There's the stand-ins and the extras that you get. Yeah, it's just different. It's just very different. It has its own vibe.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Sure.
I think that like we need to bring some of that back, and it was refreshing to see Spider-Man Brand New Day, doing some on-location stuff, but like some of it's not in the United States. So I don't know. We'll see. And some of it I'm sure was, but that's what I kind of liked about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like it felt like New York, even though some of it was probably built on a soundstage, but I know they did some on-location work. So it kind of felt like those old Raimi Spider-Man movies in a lot of ways. So I really appreciate that kind of stuff. And whether or not it'll happen, who knows, man. People, production studios, they chase the dollar, and wherever the cheapest dollar is, that's where they go. So we'll see.
Shit's wild right now, dude.
It is, but I have a lot of high hopes for this second season, and I think if it just has a very linear vision going all the way through it, that to me is the most important thing. And if we get more cameos, if we do get Mike Coulter back, if we see Finn Jones or Frank Castle comes back, I don't remember if they announced whether or not John Bernthal's coming back, but great to see
maybe not.
Jessica Jones. So I hope there will be more in the future.
Yeah.
So we'll see. 2 months away. We're very close. We're very close. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about this teaser trailer? What are you looking forward to seeing? And any other thoughts that you have about anything else related to Daredevil? Check out everything else we're watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Heroes Reforged is gonna react. Heroes Reforged is gonna review. Heroes Reforged is gonna discuss. That's why we are watching.